Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. That show where we take a giant stack of research and we try to boil it down to the good stuff.
That's right. That's right.
And today we are talking about something that I think literally every single person listening has thought about at some point at work.
Yeah.
And that is, like, why are people so different?
Yeah.
Like, why do some people thrive in chaos while others need, like, a 10-step plan to get through their day?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah, what gives?
It's a great question. And thankfully, there's actually some frameworks we can use, some science behind it.
Okay, cool.
We're going to be looking at two frameworks today.
Okay.
IOPT and emergenetics.
Okay, I've heard of emergenetics.
Yeah.
IOPT, not so much.
Okay.
So let's start with IOPT. Like,
Yeah.
what is that?
So IOP is really focused on how you get things done.
Okay.
It's all about speed and structure.
Okay.
So think of it like this. Some people are race cars. They just zoom through tasks, and other people are very meticulous architects, making sure every detail is perfect before they move on to the next thing.
So that's like why I get stressed when my coworker starts like reorganizing our filing system mid-project.
Exactly.
I'm like, dude, we have a deadline. We don't have time to make this pretty right now.
You and your coworker probably have very different IOP styles.
Okay.
And in fact, IOP breaks this down into 4 styles.
Okay.
So on one end of the spectrum, you have what are called the reactive stimulators.
Reactive stimulators.
These are the firefighters of the group. They act quickly in the moment.
Okay.
They're really good in a crisis.
Got it.
Then you have logical processors.
Logical processors.
They love data,
Yeah.
accuracy. They need a good plan.
So that's a coworker who like color codes their spreadsheets.
It could very well be, yeah.
It all makes sense now.
Right.
I'm starting to get this.
Then we have hypothetical analyzers.
Hypothetical analyzers. Yeah. Okay.
These are the folks who love to explore all the different possibilities before making a move. They want to consider every angle.
Okay.
And then finally, we have relational innovators.
Relational innovators.
These are the big picture thinkers.
Okay.
They're really good at connecting ideas in new and creative ways.
Got it.
So those are your 4 IOPT styles.
Okay. I'm already like seeing how this could be super useful for building teams and like kind of putting people in the right roles for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what about emergenetics?
Yes.
How's that different?
So emergenetics goes a layer deeper than just how you think. It actually looks at how you behave.
Okay.
So it's kind of like saying, okay, you're a race car,
Okay.
but are you a flashy sports car or are you a rugged off-road vehicle?
Ooh, I like that. Okay.
Right. So it's not just about being fast or slow. It's
Mm.
about how you express that speed, how you interact with others.
Got it.
So emergenetics adds these behavioral attributes to the mix.
Okay.
So it looks at how expressive you are. Are you very outgoing or more reserved? How assertive are you? How much do you take charge versus kind of go with the flow?
Yeah.
And then how adaptable are you? Can you roll with the punches, or do you need things to be a certain way?
I like this a lot.
So you might have 2 reactive stimulators on a team,
Right.
but one of them might be super outspoken and the other one might be much more quiet and reserved.
That makes so much sense because I feel like, just knowing someone's a logical processor tells me they like structure.
Right.
But knowing that they're also low on assertiveness
Yes.
means like I need to check in with them and make sure they're not getting overwhelmed.
Absolutely. And that's what makes emergenetics so powerful for communication.
Yeah.
It's not just about understanding how someone thinks, but it's also about understanding how they prefer to interact. And then you can tailor your approach accordingly.
Okay, so are we saying these are 2 totally separate systems or do they ever like overlap?
They definitely complement each other.
Okay.
So for example, someone who's a logical processor in IOPT might also have a strong preference for what emergenetics calls structural behavior.
Okay.
Both of those kind of emphasize that need for order, that systematic approach.
Got it.
But remember, IOPT is really focused on task completion.
Okay.
Emergenetics is more about understanding the why behind your preferences and how that influences your behavior.
So IOPT is like, here's the best tool for the job.
Mhm.
And then emergenetics is like, here's how to make sure everybody on the team can actually use their tools effectively.
That's a great way to put it.
Right.
Now that we kind of have a basic understanding of each system,
Yeah.
let's explore how this knowledge can be used in a practical way.
Okay, cool. Let's do it.
All right.
I like this.
Yeah,
I'm into it.
I think this is going to be good.
Okay.
All right. Hashtag TTS The Deep Dive, episode 2025 Zoo 220, part 2 of 3.
This is where I get really excited, like the practical application part. So
Mhm.
knowing all this stuff
Right.
about IOP and ergonetics, how can our listener actually use this
Yeah.
in their life?
Well, let's say you are putting together a team for a new project.
Okay.
So you've got this brand new project, you're putting together your dream team.
Right.
IOPT can really help you figure out who's best suited for what role
Okay.
based on their natural style. So you might put your reactive stimulators, those firefighters we talked about on the front lines.
Right.
They're the ones who can deal with those quick decisions
Yeah.
while your logical processors are back there making sure everything is documented and on track.
It's like personality matching for tasks.
Exactly.
I like that.
It's kind of like finding those natural strengths and putting them in the right spot
Got it.
where they're going to thrive.
Okay. And then how does emergenetics play into this, like, team building?
So let's say you have a leader on that team
Okay.
who's very assertive and a big picture thinker.
Okay.
This person's probably bursting with ideas. They want to move fast.
Yeah.
But if they're not aware that some of their team members might be less assertive or they might need more detailed plans, before they can jump in.
That can lead to some friction.
Oh, I've seen that so many times.
Right.
Like, it's just the classic, just do it type versus
Yes.
hold on, let's think this through.
Exactly. And that's where emergenetics can help bridge that gap.
Okay.
It helps you understand, oh, okay, maybe this person is really quiet in meetings.
Right.
But that doesn't mean they're not engaged.
Right.
It just means they process information differently.
Got it.
Or maybe they need a little bit more time to kind of formulate their thoughts before they share them.
Yeah, this is almost like a secret decoder ring
It is.
for why people act the way they do.
Yeah,
And if you know the code, you can communicate with them so much better.
exactly.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
It's about recognizing that, maybe someone's super organized and that's not a personal attack on your more free-flowing style.
Yeah.
It's just literally how they're wired.
Yeah. Okay, I'm starting to think literally everybody needs to learn about this
I agree.
because it's not just work.
It's like how you interact with everybody.
It can apply to all your relationships. So think about, if your partner insists on having a super detailed itinerary for vacation,
Oh,
and you're more go with the flow, or maybe your friend always needs to talk things out for an hour
oh my gosh.
before they can make a decision.
You just blew my mind because I am that itinerary person
Mm-hmm.
and my partner is big. So go with the flow.
There you go.
And now I understand why we clash on trips.
Right. And that's the beauty of these frameworks.
Yeah.
It's not about labeling people. It's
No.
not about saying one style is better than another.
Yeah.
It's about creating more understanding and empathy
Yeah.
in our interactions.
So it's less about changing who we are
Right.
and more about working with the talents we each have.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the key
Uh,
takeaway.
I like it.
And both IOPT and Emergenetics give you all these tools and strategies to put that knowledge into action.
Right.
But it all starts with understanding yourself and then being open to recognizing those same patterns in other people.
So what are some quick tips our listener can start doing right now? How do I figure out
Yeah.
what my style is?
Yeah.
Hashtag PTS, the deep dive episode 2025-02-20, part 3 of 3.
Yeah. How do I figure out what my style is?
Well, the easiest way is to actually take a formal assessment.
Okay.
Both IOPT and Emergenetics have tools for that, but you can also just start by paying attention to your natural tendencies.
Okay.
So, do you jump into projects head first, or do you need a lot of time to plan and think things through?
Okay.
Do you thrive in a fast-paced environment, or do you prefer things to be a little bit more predictable?
Okay.
So it's really just like taking a mental inventory
Okay.
of how you react in different situations.
I like it.
So think about how you approach problem solving, how you make decisions, even how you communicate with others.
Got it.
Once you start recognizing those patterns in yourself, you'll naturally start to spot them in other people.
Okay, that's cool. So let's say I figure I'm a total hypothetical analyzer.
How does that help me work better with someone who's like a reactive stimulator?
So if you know they're a reactive stimulator, that means they probably need you to cut to the chase.
Okay.
So instead of overwhelming them with all the possible scenarios,
Right.
just focus on, presenting your top 2 or 3 recommendations.
So it's like tailoring my communication to their style.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then on the flip side, if you're working with a logical processor,
Okay.
make sure you have all your ducks in a row,
Yeah.
before you present an idea to them, because they're going to appreciate that thoroughness.
Oh my gosh. I'm starting to see how this could prevent so much miscommunication
Yes.
and frustration.
Absolutely.
It's like now I know why my boss gets so impatient with my brainstorming sessions.
Mm.
She's probably a logical processor who wants to see the data.
I'm right.
And now I know how to adjust That's
Exactly.
my approach.
It's not about changing who you are. It's about speaking each other's language.
Okay. This has been so insightful.
Good. I'm glad.
I feel like I have this whole new set of tools to navigate the world. So, any last words of wisdom
Sure.
for our listeners before we wrap up?
I would just encourage everyone to approach these frameworks with a sense of curiosity and openness.
Okay.
It's not about putting people in boxes. It's about understanding and appreciating the beautiful diversity of human nature.
I love that. So, whether you're a reactive stimulator, a logical processor, or somewhere in between, just remember there's no right way to be.
That's right.
What matters is how we use our own unique strengths and work together to achieve amazing things.
Well said.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us on the deep dive. We have links to more resources on IOPT and emergent genetics in the show notes, so be sure to check those out. And until next time, keep diving deeper.